The scripture that most Hindus relate to, or will swear by, if I can use the word, is the Bhagavad Gita. So what is the role of Bhagavad Gita and where does it occur? The Bhagavad Gita occurs in the story of Mahabharata, which is a scripture of lower authority. It's an epic. It's still colorful storytelling. And yet, right at the heart of it sits this gem of, if you like, philosophic heart of Hinduism called the Bhagavad Gita. So even though it is in the Smriti scripture, it contains the teachings of the Upanishads, the Shrutis. That's why it straddles both the sides. Bhagavad Gita is a beautiful script. That's why most Hindus relate to they will have the Bhagavad Gita in their homes. So what is it and what is its role? You see, the Bhagavad Gita is, if you like, a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Mahabharata. Now, I personally, as I told you, always use your rational faculties when you come to terms with religion. When I look at there are 700 verses, there is no way they could have had the dialogue of 700 verses in the middle of a battlefield. Because the rest of the armies will say, oh, they want to do philosophy, we go home. This couldn't have happened historically. And yet they have plugged it in there because it's a nice context in which to present the idea of the philosophy of Hinduism. That's why it's presented in the Mahabharata story. So now what is it all about? Here we see the uniqueness of the Bhagavad Gita. It allows religion to be translated into practice. It allows religious ideas to filter society and allow individuals and society to interact with the ideas of religion, if you like, in the battlefield of life itself. So it makes religions relevant for your daily life. That is why it's a very important script. Not pure theory, oh, I'm the spirit, I'm Atman. It doesn't talk like that. It allows you to relate to the idea of religion in your own daily life. It makes religion available in daily context. That is why it's an important script, very important. Now again, who compiled it? People say, well, it's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, so Krishna must have said it. I personally suspect, look, my words are very guarded, that if a great philosopher has really pulled in the gems of the Upanishads and reconciled them in this marvelous text. Now you see the name that they give to the author is Vyas. Now Vyas actually simply is like a surname, but Vyas doesn't mean an individual who lived for 1,000 years or 3,000 years, because Vyas seems to compile everything. And he can't have lived so many thousands of years. The word Vyas simply means somebody who compiles, who collects together, who thinks hard about these things. So Vyas is a surname. So this is, the Bhagavad Gita comes out of Vyas, but basically what Vyas means is a compiler, without, if you like, an individual putting his name forward saying, I wrote it. We just kind of hide under the name of Vyas. Now what is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita? Very important. It is a text of exactly what I'm teaching you here at Eton. It talks of pluralism, saying that in order for us to resolve our human condition, we can adopt a variety of different pathways. This is the Bhagavad Gita. See, making religions relevant and suited to our daily lives. Suppose it says you are an active person, active in society, you don't need to be an ascetic and disappear in the caves. You're working in society, you're perhaps a family man. How can you translate religious ideas into your life? He said, look, live well, follow the aims of life, which is to, if you like, focusing on trying to resolve the human condition, dharma, create wealth. It doesn't say run away from wealth and hang on to poverty. It says create wealth, artha. It also says fulfill legitimate desires. It doesn't say bottle up your desires. It says make sure you harness them, otherwise it will create a muck in your life. So harnessing your desires. And then at the end it says resolve the human condition, moksha. What is it? Why am I feel very kind of shackled. I wish to break free from the limitation. These are the aims of the Bhagavad Gita, the four aims of Hindu life. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And again he says that in order for you to fulfill this particular process, they allow you a variety of different pathways, plural pathways. So you can be a very kind of simple person, ordinary person living ordinary life, and still fulfill this aspiration to recognize your spiritual dimension. So this is a pluralistic tradition. It encourages pluralism. It allows us to make spiritual progress using variety of different ways. The pathways that Krishna talks about is the path of Gnana. Just through near intellect, you can see the world in its true colors, in its true form, Gnana. You can adopt the path of meditation, looking inward to resolve your human condition, path of Raj Yoga. You can resolve your human condition through devotion. Suppose you are kind of infatuated with a God in the heaven. Nothing wrong, says Bhagavad Gita, go for it. Through bhakti. He said, no, I am an active person. I just need to, how should I live my life? He says, yes. First of all, be active. Don't be a lazy lot. Secondly, act in a selfless manner. This is the whole heart of religion. When we act for our own personal interest, we are becoming mean and small and losing our spiritual status. When we start to live for others, extend the people we'll care for and look after, take on more and more people, that is karma marg. And that is again the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, not running away from life, but embracing life. So it allows a variety of different approaches in religion. It reconciles them at a deeper level. Even the idea of God as a personality, as a supreme personality, and as well as God as your inner natures, Atman. All these concepts are nicely intertwined, interwoven, and reconciled in this simple text called the Bhagavad Gita. But in fact, what I have been teaching is nothing but the Bhagavad Gita without the tops and the tails of the word Bhagavad Gita. This idea of pluralism is central in the Bhagavad Gita. The idea of spiritual humanism, recognizing our dignity, is also Bhagavad Gita. Reconciling them is also Bhagavad Gita. That is why it's a lovely text to keep in your hand. In fact, my mentor, Swami Vivekananda, look, he's an enlightened personality of very high caliber. One textbook he used to keep with him when he was traveling in America, UK and so on, was the Bhagavad Gita. And whenever he felt his batteries need to be recharged, he would pick up the book, sit in some corner, turn the pages. And this is a real story recorded. Every time he would read some of the verses, tears of joy would flow from his eyes and make his clothes wet as if he's been sitting in rain. That tremendous devotion to this marvelous text called the Bhagavad Gita. Who compiled it, whether it's got historic foundation, I have no clue, because it goes back into antiquity. But the material it possesses, if you like a reconciliation of every good aspect of Hinduism in one small textbook. That is why Bhagavad Gita is part of the central text of the Hindus.